Welcome to episode number 58 of the Active Geek podcast entitled Underworld, Blood Wars, and Resident Evil, the Final Chapter. So Underworld, Blood Wars is the next chapter to the movie franchise of Underworld, which hits theaters January 6, 2017, and is starring Theo James and Kate Beckinsale. On January 27th, Resident Evil, the Final Chapter comes out, and that's the very last installment to the Resident Evil franchise, and that stars Mila Jovovich, Ali Larter, and Ruby Rose. In this episode, both Chuck and myself review and kind of summarize and give up our opinions on on both franchises and how we felt from beginning to the end and where the actors should go following their roles in these two franchises. In addition to this, I struggled mightily on naming a movie that Mila Jovovich was in, and I promised in the intro that I would give our listeners the title of the movie, and you guys were probably screaming at me while I'm talking about it, but the movie was called The Fourth Kind. Also, a fun fact about this in this episode was that we recorded this in October when Underworld was supposed to come out, and then it got pushed back, so some of the material may be dated, but there really hasn't been any other news in regards to Underworld or footage in regards to Underworld that was pertinent to the episode, so we didn't feel the need that we needed to add anything else. So if you really like these movie franchises, make sure you go see them in theaters. If you don't really care about these movie franchises, just wait till it comes out on Redbox or Netflix. And without further ado, listen to our next episode. This is episode number 58 of the Active Geek podcast, entitled Underworld, Blood Wars, and Resident Evil, the Final Chapter.
Chuck, we're going to talk about something a little different today, and we're going to talk about what I think is the end of two eras. The first being the Underworld series, and the second being Resident Evil. Both of which come out later this year. I think Resident Evil might come out in 2017, like January-ish. Mm-hmm. I should know that, but I don't. Underworld comes out soon, and then Resident Evil comes out following. So first we're going to talk about the latest installment of the Underworld franchise, which is called Blood Wars. Have you seen all the movies?
Yes.
All of them?
Yep.
I have not seen all the movies. I didn't even know about the last one. I think it was called Awakening. Mm-hmm. I didn't know about that one, and I think we talked about it in, maybe Get to Know the Geeks episode, where I was shocked that Theo James was in the Underworld series. And you were like, dude, he was in the last one. I was like, well, that's how much I know, because I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Underworld franchise?
I loved it. The very first one came out on my 21st birthday, and that's what we went to go see it, because I was the only one 21, and no one I knew was 21 yet. Well, my friends were a year younger, so now that we go out and celebrate. So we went to the movies and Denny's.
Nice. Got a grand sandwich?
Meat Lover Skillet.
Oh.
That's not even there anymore.
This episode is sponsored by Denny's.
Yes, it is.
Where breakfast happens all the time. This episode is not sponsored by Denny's, so don't sue us.
No, I remember seeing it, and it was just kind of like, it was a movie about vampires. And I was like, this shit's awesome. It was different. Never, ever was anything like that. And then I've seen them all. The second one I really liked. The third one was okay.
What was the second one called? Evolution?
Yes.
Okay. That's the one when Scott Speedman starts, they start experimenting with him, right? He starts transforming?
Yeah.
Okay. Scott Speedman dead in the series?
Well, no. They experiment a little bit. It's when Marcus, who, at the very end of the first one...
He's the head of the Lycans, right?
No. Marcus was the evil vampire.
Okay. Which one was the head of the Lycans? Craven, is that his name?
Yeah, I think so.
And there was a guy named Victor. I remember him.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened with Marcus?
Marcus was... He was the one that kind of looked like he was the first vampire. Mm-hmm. And he could transform and had wings and fly and all that. So he was
like Dracula, essentially.
Yeah, he was the big bad one in the second one. And the third one was The Rise of the Lycans, which was the prequel. It was alright.
Yeah.
And then the fourth one, which you've never seen, was Awakening. Again...
Was that one good?
It was okay. It was probably my least favorite out of the four.
Okay, so I probably won't like it. Put it in perspective. Is it better than Jupiter Ascending?
Yeah.
Ooh. Is it better than I, Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Okay, then I might see it. I should probably watch it.
You set the bar really low with those two.
Well, one of them is a Kevin Giroux movie. So,
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that we're on the same page.
Well, we've seen it, and it was...
Yeah, I Frankenstein was... So, I think I should see it, right? Because I need to know who Theo James is?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll have to on-demand that. So that's what you liked about it. It was fresh and new, something different.
Yeah, because you think about it, they talked about, it wasn't all... It was more about the chemistry.
Yeah.
And the actual science behind it. Which Kevin Giroux has a background in.
Yeah, he was like a physicist, right?
He actually studied...
Science?
He had a degree in microbiology.
Okay.
And a minor in chemistry and psychology.
You know what's funny? Since, he's nerdy, from what it seems like.
Yeah.
He's creative. He's got a science background. It'd be really cool to be a guest spot on Big Bang. I mean, they do that with everyone else. They would throw my man a bone.
And he's huge.
Yeah, he's a big man. Big boy.
And that voice, that's him.
Yeah.
That's not like a... slow it down.
I kind of sound like him right now with my my deep, cold voice.
I don't know, that voice is... I remember seeing him, I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? And then I looked it up and I was like, oh shit, he wrote this movie.
Yeah, he wrote a lot of... I don't know if he wrote the movie. I think he wrote a lot of characters for the series. So I don't think he wrote the screenplay, but he wrote the characters. Which, that's awesome to be that creative and,
but
be a microbiologist too.
I just thought it was a fresh take.
Yeah, and it was it came at the right time because, if I'm not mistaken, Blade had already ended, or was ending. Right? I think Trinity came out around 2002, 2003.
Mm-hmm.
So, the world was kind of hyped up on Blade, and then you come in with a female Blade, essentially.
And she was a fresh face.
This was her breakout role.
Yeah, it was her breakout role. She did Pearl Harbor before.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I've seen.
Did anybody ever see that movie?
I did.
I know. It was. I think a lot of people have seen it. I was just joking.
Oh. It wasn't very good. It was Michael Bay.
Yeah, everything's Michael Bay. Speaking of Michael Bay, we talked about it in the Geek Gallery last week. I saw The Purge election year.
Yeah.
He produced that?
That's not surprising. Platinum Dunes, right?
Huh?
Platinum Dunes? That's his production.
I don't know. It's just a Michael Bay production. Oh. Unless there's another Michael Bay out there that's making movies, but I didn't expect it because I usually don't go towards Michael Bay productions
because
it's too much explosions, overdone explosions.
I think he did Friday the 13th.
Oh, okay,
so Platinum Dunes does a lot of horror.
Okay, they're better than Lionsgate. I'm not a big fan of Lionsgate movies. Okay,
what was that? Crank.
They did Saw too. They did all Saws, I think. The first Saw was good.
First Saw
kind of got overdone by Saw.
Second Saw wasn't bad, and then just went.
Yeah, it got too crazy.
It got too repetitive.
Yeah, it's crazy that stuff could actually happen. There's probably a guy who has a warehouse that's rigged like Saw. It's kind of scary. But enough with Saw. Let's continue with our Underworld talk. Like I was saying, Blade was ending or had ended, and then Underworld comes out. And most of our listeners know, unless this is the first episode that they're listening to, then they have to go back and listen to 47 more episodes. I'm a big fan of vampires. Mm-hmm. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is one of my favorite all-time shows. So, kind of reminded me of a darker Buffy. Female vampire hunter that is a vampire, though. You know what I mean? So having the female lead and just going out there, and this was in a time where there weren't a lot of female leads. They were trying to do it with Aeon Flux. Remember that movie with Charlize Theron? And Tomb Raider was was out around that time. So you had all these bad movies that were female leads, and then Kate Beckinsale comes out and is like, "Let me show you how it's done." You know what I mean? Also, in the same time, the early 2000s, you had Resident Evil come out too. Mm-hmm. Another franchise that's female led, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But you had two, essentially, not household names. People if you're a fan of The Fifth Element, you know Mila. But if if you've seen Pearl Harbor, you might know Kate Beckinsale, but both are kind of fresh faces. So you have these female-led series, and something that kind of reminds me of Buffy, kind of fills that void of a female vampire hunter, and then you just add in werewolves, because I'm practically a werewolf already. I'm covered in fur on my face, and I sweat a lot, so I'm assuming I'm part werewolf.
Just and the way they did the Lycans.
Yeah, they were. It wasn't cheesy.
Yeah.
I liked the way they did the Lycans back in friggin' 2006 to the point better than they did the Wolfman in that Guillermo del Toro, Benicio.
Benicio del Toro.
Are they related?
No.
They both have the same last name, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why it confused me. I don't think I've ever referenced them at the same time. So that I didn't like that movie. So having Rise of the Lycans and the way they did those werewolves were pretty cool. So I liked it. What's your favorite movie?
First one.
Why the first one? Is it because you're a huge Scott Speedman fan?
No, I just...
Favorite Scott Speedman movie? I'm kidding.
Only Scott Speedman movies.
Is it Underworld?
They're the only ones I know he's in.
Okay, yeah, me too.
I just feel, because it was the start of the franchise, it was the best, to me, like, my favorite is 1, 2.
Yeah.
And then it started trickling downhill from there. I just feel it was, because it was, like I said, a fresh take. It was something that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when I seen it, I don't even think knew what it was about. But I remember, it was before...
You saw a hot chicken cat suit and you wanted to see it.
Well, that's what we were looking. We were like, oh, what do you guys want to see? And we looked it up and we were like, Underworld. And it was a picture of her and we were like, vampires, and she looks hot. All right, let's go.
Yeah. This is what Twilight should have been. You know what I mean? I feel like the writer of Twilight liked Underworld so much that she just wanted to write a teen-friendly Underworld and made Twilight. You know what I mean? Vampires and werewolves.
Horrible.
Vampires and werewolves.
Yeah.
Same thing with True Blood. Vampires and werewolves.
But
Underworld knocks them both out of the park.
First one, my favorite.
Okay.
So out of the 3 that you've seen, what was your favorite?
I like Rise of the Lycans.
Really?
Because I like werewolves a lot.
Yeah.
And it kind of explained, like, you had the Lycan unit, right? And you knew that there was war between the Lycans and the vampires. But you wanted to know how the war started. So Rise of the Lycans kind of explained that. I like a good prequel story. I like a good prequel story, except the Star Wars franchise. Because they were not good prequel stories. But I do like Underworld, the first one, because, again, fresh start, hot chick in a cat suit, and it wasn't overdone violently, but it had that enough action.
Also, too, the
constituted as a good movie.
Didn't look super high, but for what they had, they did great.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And one of my favorite scenes is when she's in the, I guess, it's like the underbelly of wherever they're at.
Yeah, their lair.
And she takes out, and Kevin Durreau, who played Roz, or Raze,
We'll call him Rozzy.
It's R-A-Z-E.
We'll call him Raz.
When she's coming out, and she throws these discs, and the knives come out, and you get stuck in them, and it's like, that scene was awesome.
Yeah, like, there was a lot of slow-mo action in it, and like when she would come down through like it looked like a well. We're probably talking about the same scene. Like she like kind of soars down slowly, and she's got the fucking machine guns, and she's like, like the whole time.
I think I want to watch that tonight.
It's a good series. Like when I was thinking about it, I was like, I might want to re-binge this for the movie because I think I'm going to go see it in theaters.
Yeah,
I mean it's coming out at a time where it's in between good movies that I want to see, so I'll check it out. Is this Kate Beckinsale's greatest role?
By far.
What else has she been in?
Click.
Oh.
And she's done a bunch of period pieces.
Yeah.
But she's sexy.
She's great.
I can't really say anything else about it. But
that you don't want to get in trouble for.
But she is, by far, like Pearl Harbor, Click. And then she she's done movies here and there. She's never she hasn't done a big franchise.
Yeah, you don't really. When you think of big stars, right, female actresses, she really doesn't come to mind. But she's carried this franchise.
No.
Like she was in all the movies, right?
She
Was
briefly in. I like it.
Like for a hot cup of coffee, and emphasis on the hot. But so she's carried this franchise, but she's like, you don't think of her with the top billed celebrities because she's not in the forefront. Do you think people don't remember her is because they confuse her with Keira Knightley? Because they kind of became popular at the same time. Keira, Kate, no, they both start with a K.
Both British.
Yeah. Do you think that's kind of...
I don't know.
I think sometimes I've gotten them confused. Because, like, for some reason, I think Kate Beckinsale's a Domino, and I know it's not. I know it's Keira Knightley. But I think people just get them confused. I think this is her greatest role as well. I'm really curious to see what happens after Underworld. You know, what happens to Kate Beckinsale. I'm sure, Kevin's going to write more I, Frankenstein sequels. Which
I think they're done with that.
Starring Jay Courtney. But, Theo James, he's going to do direct-to-DVD Allegiant movies. You know what I mean? Yeah, think about that for a second. They were supposed to be the next Hunger Games, and their last movie's going straight to Freeform.
The third one was bad.
I didn't even see it. I didn't even see the second one.
Like, the first one wasn't that bad. My wife's really into them.
Saw the first one.
And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then the second one, I was like, this is kind of stupid. And then we seen the third one. And I kind of got mad at the comments she said because it went very sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
And she looked at him and she goes, when do we see a Star Wars movie? And pissed me off because that she compared
It
that
should
to
not be
Star
on
Wars.
that level.
But I get what she was saying. It went far left.
Yeah, I'm never going to watch it, so
Yeah,
that's fine.
don't waste your time.
So, when you think about the Underworld franchise, right? You think vampires and lycans or werewolves, whichever you want to call it. And I've mentioned Twilight and True Blood and like there's Teen Wolf and all and Buffy and all these vampire shows, right? And Vampire Diaries and the originals and stuff like that. You have vampire and werewolf shows. Do you think that this story is played out? The vampires versus the lycans?
I don't think so. It's because people put fresh spins on them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, this was a fresh spin. Unfortunately, Twilight was a different spin.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. I mean, it depends how it is.
Twilight was more about a chick who just wanted to fuck a wolf.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I might have it wrong. I didn't read the books. But that's what it kind of feels like to me. So you think if it's a fresh spin and it's done right, it's not played out?
Yeah.
If you think about it,
Because it's iconic.
Yeah, exactly. Vampires and werewolves were one of the very first monsters. When you think of monsters, you think of the universal monsters: Dracula, the Wolfman, Creature of Black Lagoon, Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and the Mummy, and the Invisible Man. Right? So you have all those guys, and maybe the Phantom of the Opera sometimes. Who knows? I feel like Johnny Depp just lives as the Phantom of the Opera, but that's neither here nor there. I think that it's a timeless story, but it can become overdrawn, and the market can be oversaturated because everybody wants to jump on it. Mm-hmm. Oh, people like vampires because they like True Blood and they like Twilight and they like Underworld, but when they make a movie, it's like a sci-fi movie, like a Sci-Fi Channel movie. It's not good. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with zombies. Zombies are iconic. Night of the Living Dead. You got Dawn of the Dead. Stuff like The Walking Dead. Stuff like that. But then you get Z Nation. And then you get, like, Tucker and Dale fight zombies. You know what I mean? So
Zombieland.
Zombieland was good.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a zombie thriller. You know what I mean? It was more of a comedy rather than a horror. And I dig it. I dig that. But I think that the story can become played out. But I don't think Underworld story is played out. Because they do it... And I've only seen 3 of the four movies that have been out, so I can't say if the last one played it out, but I've told you this before, like, I didn't even know this movie was coming out until a couple months ago, and I said to myself, holy shit, another Underworld movie? Like, I kind of forgot about it. So it's one of those things that if there's not a, I don't want it to become Saw, where there's a movie every Halloween, and you're like, oh, I don't want to watch it anymore.
Was way played out.
Because it was every year, you know what I mean? Like, that stuff was all played out. So, I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know. I have to see Awakening, to kind of base my judgment on Blood Wars, because I feel like that's where it picks up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I also don't think Theo James is great. You know what I mean? I liked him in Divergent. That's the only thing I've ever seen him in. But I don't know if he's a great actor.
Yeah, he's alright.
I don't think you need to be a great actor to be in Underworld either. You know what I mean? But you did get like Bill Nighy, who's great. He's fantastic in this series.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a shining star. Is he going to be in Blood Wars?
No,
Okay. Is he dead?
I believe so.
That's not in real life, right?
No.
Okay. Whew. Almost had a heart attack. So, gun to your head, you get to pick a side. Would you fight for the vampires or the Lycans?
Like,
Why?
because if I was like, to me they're more versatile.
Uh-huh.
Because you can go out during the day, you can have a normal life, then you can switch on and off. You're a vampire, you're a vampire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, your
main source of fun is raves.
Yeah, you know what
I'm
I
not
mean?
a dancer.
You know what I mean? Like, and then also, too, you know, if I want to go have breakfast in the morning, I'm a lichen, I go. And
Yeah.
at night, turn into a lichen. You know what I mean?
If you want to go out for breakfast as a vampire, you just drink it.
Yeah.
Sucks.
And you can't go out
Yeah.
for breakfast at 2 in the morning.
The only reason I'd want to be a vampire, and I'm on the same side as you, I'm Team Lycan, because I mentioned it before, I'm already turning into a Lycan, so I'm adjusting very well to it. However, the only reason I'd want to be a vampire is because they're immortal. And living forever seems pretty cool to me.
Well, lichens, I mean...
Silver bullet can put you down, but a stake can put you down as well.
Well, also the ultraviolet bullet roll.
Yeah, but if no one knows I'm a vampire, if I'm a low-key vampire, I'd be alright.
But, like, Craven, look how long he lasted.
That's true.
You know, he's hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not like, you know, you're dying at, you know, at 70.
Yeah, well, I'd be lucky if I died at 70. I feel like I'm gonna die early. I don't know. Because I'm a fucking vigilante, I'll probably die sooner. I don't know. Who knows? So you're going with the Lycans. I'm going with the Lycans. Speaking of one of the Lycans, we're talking about Kevin Guerreau. I think that's how you pronounce it. He's got a very French name, like a Creole name. What do you think of his writing styles? Because, you know, he does write the characters for Underworld, and then he wrote I, Frankenstein, which had Underworld character likes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With Frankenstein and with the, I don't know, with the gargoyle people that would come down. Mm-hmm. What do you think of his writing?
See, I like it. Because I like it is because he's got a background in science. I mean, he graduated from Howard University with a degree in microbiology, which, again, you would look at him,
Yeah,
and be like, "You're just, you know."
I love his IMDb page. It looks like he stepped out of like a FUBU commercial. He's got like the hat on backwards, like the.
Wait to see. I'll have to
driver
show you a picture when he. Picture, I guess, when he was like in college.
Yeah.
Well,
Did he have dreads?
no, he had like a. His hair was
Awesome. I think he's great.
So not only like I said, he had microbiology. He had a minor in both chemistry and psychology. And then he studied genetic engineering in grad school.
Wow.
Like,
and then to go into acting
Yeah.
and writing. I'm sure he probably didn't want to go into acting. He would just write little small parts in for himself.
Like he had, you know, that was probably his biggest role.
Yeah.
He was one of the apes in Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, I
Tim
remember.
Burton.
We talked about that.
He was one of those gargoyle people in I, Frankenstein. And then he had little small roles here and there. Like, Ray's is probably his biggest character.
He could have played the, I can't remember the character name, but in Thor the Dark World, where Adewale Akunje Jabala, or whatever his name is, played the, I had it on the tip of my tongue, but Malekith's guy.
Yeah.
He could have played him.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. I think I like his writing style because I think the characters are developed perfectly. I think they have a proper backstory, but also to touch on what you said, the science aspect.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't just say, "All right, he's a vampire because he's a vampire." He's a vampire because
we've never seen that before.
Yeah, he breaks it down biologically. Like, this is what happens to the blood when you're bit by a vampire. This is what happens when you become a lichen. This is why they transform. This is why the lunar cycle affects the lichens. And I love it because it does give you that. It kind of makes it believable. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Listen, to my knowledge, there's no real werewolves. Vampires, on the other hand, there are some emo kids that dwell in, and goth kids that dwell in Hot Topic that may be vampire kids. Have you ever been to Dracula's Ball?
No.
Can I tell you a quick story about that?
Sure.
Okay. Do you ever hear of Dracula's Ball?
No.
Alright, so Dracula's Ball is like it's like a goth, like prom dance thing. It sounds horrible, right? So I went to one.
When?
A couple years ago, actually. It was Chelsea, me, Jesse. For those who are listening who don't know who Jesse is, he's my roommate from college. And his ex-girlfriend at the time. So we go to this...
I think you did tell me.
Yeah, that's good. I'll make it quick. So we go to this thing, and it's in the Electric Factory, where Shampoo is, the Club Shampoo.
Yeah.
Alright, so we go there, and it's a rave. And it's got... it's pitch black, and strobe lights are going everywhere. Everyone's in black. What am I wearing? A white t-shirt from a band called I See Stars that says in bright tinfoil silver, "She Screams My Name," right? So we go out and we're there, and I'm not a big people person, you know this, and a dancer, but they all want to dance. The girls want to dance, so we're dancing. But then they have to go to the bathroom. So they go to the bathroom, and me and Jesse are just standing there, right? And we're swarmed by a bunch of vampire dudes that want to dance on us. Like, immediately, like, they enclosed on us. It was kind of like, imagine Rick and Daryl standing in a field, and a horde comes and swarms in on them. The only thing that they could do is kind of, like, shimmy with their elbows to get out of it. We ended up just dancing out of the circle. It was the most uncomfortable I've ever felt in my life, because I had a bunch of guys who looked like they were going to a Marilyn Manson concert, but with fake blood dripping out of their face, trying to dance on me. So... that's another reason why I think there might be vampires out there. Because of that weird shit that I experienced. You were just
grinding up on Jesse to get out.
I was trying to get the fuck away from dry homes. That's what I was trying to do. So I will never go back to that ever again. So that was my part. It was just... that goes back to why I think Kevin Garreau's writing style makes it more believable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was a rumor that came out... a couple of weeks ago, maybe, that Blade and Selena were going to have a crossover. The Underworld people contacted Marvel and said, hey, we want to do something with Blade. Marvel shut that down. They shut that shit down really quick. Marvel's not big with crossovers. You know, no. Whereas DC, as far as comic books, will cross over with the Turtles. They've done that.
Which they talked about making that
I saw that. That would be awesome.
An animated movie.
And... the Justice League is crossing over with the Power Rangers now in the comics. Yeah. Which I don't get, but I want to see it. So you have those crossovers. Marvel doesn't really do that. You don't see Marvel crossing over like Scooby-Doo or Voltron. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So Underworld comes up and says, all right, we want to work the Punisher, or not the Punisher, Blade. Because Blade fits that universe. Perfect, right? They shut that shit down, and then Marvel comes out and says... we don't have any immediate plans for Blade, but you can have him. Yeah. So that's a boss move right there. Like, you're not going to destroy Blade. Like, we don't. Yeah. You might make him stupid, or they might even kill off Blade. Who knows, right? What do you think? How do you think that would have worked?
I didn't like the idea, and I don't know how it worked. It probably would have been badly.
Do you think Blade and Selena would have been a love story?
I hope not.
I think that's what it would have been. Like, it's called Blood Wars, right? So, my thought is maybe it's like a kind of like a gang war where there's multiple factions of vampires and werewolves coming together and they're all fighting each other. And maybe Blade was the leader of one, and you know Kate Beckinsale's character was the leader of another one, and you got the werewolves, and you got maybe there's witches. Who the fuck knows, right? So, at the end, they become lovers. That's how I thought it would have worked out, and I think it would have been stupid. How I would have wanted it to work out is that Kate Beckinsale's having a problem with the whoever she's fighting, right? Because we don't know what side she's on. She kind of straddles the line of I like lichens, I like The Empire is on. I don't want them to fight. I want them to be peaceful. And she recruits Blade. And then it's just beheadings all day. That's how I thought it would have been. I didn't want to see it. So you didn't want to see it either, right?
No, not at all.
Did you think that they were just gonna? Do you think they would have killed Blade?
I don't know.
That would have been so dumb.
Well, I think if they crossed over, they. Well, first off, Marvel wouldn't have been like, "Yeah, go ahead, kill him."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh my! Could you imagine? Like, yeah, we get the rights back to Blade. Blade's in Underworld. Blade's dead. I mean, that could have been a good way to
bring her into the MCU.
No, take Wesley out of the MCU. So you have him play Blade one last time because he wants to play Blade for Marvel. They kill him off, and the next chapter of Blade would be Blade Origins with Sticky Fingers.
No.
But it can't be Michael B. Jordan because he's already in Black Panther. Yeah. So it's going to be John Boyega. Finn John Boyega as Blade.
What's worse?
All right, so you have like that would have been pretty okay. Like because I want Blade so bad in the MCU. Yeah. He doesn't fit right now. He doesn't fit. The only way he's going to fit is if Ghost Rider gets his own Netflix show, and that brings a darker element into it. I don't want Blade on S.H.I.E.L.D. But we're going to talk more about Selena. And you brought it up about bringing her into the MCU. Can you see any of these actors, Theo James, Kate Beckinsale, Kevin Garreau? Can you see Scott Speedman? Can you see any of these people joining the MCU or the DCEU?
Scott Speedman, no.
Really, you can't see him being like Hulk Jr.
No, I can't.
Baby Hulk. No. Okay.
Kate Beckinsale. I remember years ago, I wanted her for Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Like, kind of when Underworld 1, 2 came out.
Yeah.
I thought she would have been perfect.
And based on the body type they were going for, especially with Gal Gadot, Kate Beckinsale fits that.
Yeah.
She's not buff, but she's in very good shape.
Yeah.
Same with Gal Gadot. What about Theo? You think Theo?
Maybe Nightwing.
Okay.
I can kind of see that.
A lot of people want Glenn from The Walking Dead to be Nightwing. No. Stephen Yeun.
No.
I can't feel it.
No, I can't feel it either. And then Kevin Garreau, Darkseid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
He's got the voice. Kevin Garreau is kind of like Ron Perlman for me. Like, he could be Swamp Thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like, he could be... He's... I think Ron Perlman, Kevin Garreau, like, Doug Jones are all great with prosthetics. Like, and I feel like they prefer that. They don't have to be the lead. Mm-hmm. They could just go in there and be a character in the background. Mm-hmm. I can see Kevin becoming like an Inhuman, maybe. Not Black Bolt.
He would have been good.
I think.
He would have been a good.
Lash. Yeah, he would have. I think Vin Diesel should be like Black Bolt, personally.
Yeah.
Kate Beckinsale, I want her as Catwoman. Because I feel she rocks cat suit perfectly. But also, I wouldn't have a problem with her being a Medusa. I've never seen her with red hair, though. Yeah. That's my thing, so who knows. Theo James, I don't know. I think he fits better in DC. Because I just don't really like DC movies. So, although, if Marvel ever got the rights back to Fantastic Four, maybe a Johnny Storm.
Yeah, maybe.
So that, who knows? But they're the people that I think would make it in there. Bill Nighy, he could play like a scientist. Yeah. Can't see him being maybe the voice of MODOK. That'd be pretty cool. So last question I'm going to ask you about Underworld, and then we're going to get to Resident Evil. How should the franchise end, or how would you end the franchise?
I don't know. I think it should end from this.
Yeah.
She's getting older. She still looks good.
Yeah. But
the story's getting kind of played out. So I would, however they're planning to do it, just, if you continue, which they shouldn't, you know what I mean? I think just end it here.
I agree with you. Because it's at the point where people could say, Jesus Christ, I don't need another Underworld movie. So, end it on a high note. the question is, do they kill Kate Beckinsale's character? Is this it? Like, Underworld. I feel like Underworld ends with Selena.
I think I think she'll die, but
Okay.
I think it probably won't be the end.
So they're gonna like. Do you think it
Theo
kind of,
James takes over.
Oh God. All right. Well, if Theo James takes over the Underworld franchise, then it's the end of the Underworld franchise for me, for this guy. And that's not shaming Theo James. Congratulations on maybe taking over this franchise, but you're not for me.
Yeah.
Sorry, Theo.
You don't want to see him in a cat suit.
I don't want to. God, I don't want to see him in a cat suit. Not at all. Ugh, throwing up. I think. I don't know, man. I don't know if they kill her. I just hope if they do kill her, it's not cheesy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be like Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
Where like, I'll never let you go, and he freezes to death. You know what I mean? So, if they do kill her, it has to be an awesome death. Maybe she just dies from battle, and that's how it is. She's the last one standing. And at the end, she falls to her knees and she dies, or sunlight comes up and she burns up, and that's it. End of the franchise. Everyone burns up. If they're survivors, they're all burned up. That's how I would end Underworld. Personally, we're gonna move on from Underworld Blood Wars, and we're gonna move to Resident Evil, the final chapter. Okay. Did you ever play the video games Resident Evil?
No.
Dude, they scared the fuck out of me. Like, they were... I'm not a big first-person shooter mode game player, like Halo and Titanfall. Pretty much every game that's out now, Call of Duty, stuff like that. I kind of get motion sickness. And, like, I want to just, like, go slowly and, like, snipe people out, and they're too fast-paced for me. Resident Evil, man, you'd be walking around, and you would turn the corner, and there'd be a licker. Or like one of those hellhounds, or just an outbreak patient right there, and they would either jump on you, or you would have to put them down. Mm. So as a kid, that scared the shit out of me. You've seen all the Resident Evil movies?
Yes.
Man, you're devoted to franchises.
I see a lot of them.
I love it. I've actually seen all the Resident Evil movies too. I don't know if that's a thing to boast about. Because when we will talk about it, but what are your thoughts on this franchise? This is another female-driven franchise. You're in a world where most of the action franchises are dominated by men. So we talked about Underworld, which is a female-driven franchise, and now we're going to talk about another one, which is Mila Jovovich's franchise as Alice. So what are your thoughts on the Resident Evil franchise?
I remember seeing it in theaters, the first one. And I didn't, I knew about the video games. I never really played them. And I was like, all right, whatever. And I'm not a real big, horror fan.
Yeah, you don't like horror.
You know what it is? Because a lot of horror, I like a story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of times it's just, killing, blah, blah, It's not so much the blood and the killing.
Yeah.
It's, the stories are stupid.
Well, think about what we talk about in reboots, remakes, and rewrites. Horror is the genre that gets remade the most. How many Friday the 13th movies are there? How many Halloween? Yeah. How many Freddy's? You have these movies that, we know what's happening. They could have great storylines, but it's oversaturated. It's overdone. But then you have a movie like Oculus. I don't think have you seen Oculus?
No.
Oculus has a really good storyline. And The Conjuring. Those movies have good storylines.
That's why, the first Saw.
Yeah.
That story was fucking phenomenal.
It was great.
Because I remember I was like, I don't want to see it. And then, I was like, okay, it's not bad. And then at the very end, when that turned, I went, holy shit, I love this movie.
I'll tell you storylines that I like that they're kind of gruesome. I like the Rob Zombie storylines. Devil's Rejects.
I seen
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Dude, House of a Thousand Corpses. We went to see that in theaters. Me and my friends, and we got out, and we were like, I was disturbed.
Yeah, it's a disturbing franchise. And his new movie's coming out soon, 31. Have you seen previews for that?
Yeah.
Crazy as shit. It's about fucking carnival people. And plus, his wife looks pretty good. She's got a great ass. But did you know Chris Hardwick was in House of a Thousand Corpses?
Nah.
He was the chubby kid of the main group that gets his head worked on in the doctor's office.
I've seen it in theaters and I've seen it again.
Yeah, him and Rainn Wilson was in it. It's crazy. He was Chris Hardwick was the fat douchebag in it. and he got killed.
I know he's fat.
Yeah, he was a plumper. He was a plump man back in the day, right after Singled Out. But what are your thoughts about Resident Evil? You saw it in theaters.
I like the first couple. And then again, it kind of just got overplayed.
Not even overplayed, dude. I think the graphics got pretty cheesy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a shame because, like, CGI was getting stronger, like, as the years progressed.
Yeah, budgets probably just got less.
Yeah, it probably got less. And they're like, oh, sci-fi movies are great. Let's just make, like, a Sharknado movie. No. You know what I mean? I really, like, again, I said I played the video games. I love the video games. I loved the first one. And that was about it. And I'm a big Mila Jovovich.
So that was your favorite?
Yes. Mila Jovovich, I like Mila Jovovich. I like her a lot. The first movie, and then we'll just go into it, is my favorite. I will never forget the moment where they're in that hallway and the laser security beam goes off and it splits that dude in half. Like, I had Resident Evil, the first one, on VHS. And for people who are listening who don't know what VHS is, it was before DVDs and Blu-rays. Let's just put it that way. It's kind of like a cassette to music. So I had it on VHS and then I bought it on DVD. But, like, that was got cut in half. That was the pivotal scene. Like, and it was nonstop action. Like, it reminded me of the video games.
I also remember when they did, instead of that, they did the whole graph.
Yeah.
And just cut the people into, like,
it turned them into checkerboards.
Yeah, it was. That first one was strong.
Yeah, and, like, you didn't, like, you didn't know if Michelle Rodriguez was infected. Mm-hmm. Like, it was a good storyline. They had the flashbacks to Raccoon City, like, before the outbreak. It was strongly done, and then it kind of went downhill. Mm-hmm. What was the one where they were in the church? Aftermath? Or Extinction?
That was Apocalypse.
Where they introduced...
I like that one.
Where they introduced Allie Lauder's character, right?
Oh, Allie Lauder. No, that was the Extinction.
Extinction. And she plays Claire, and she's a character in the video games.
The third one, or the second one, that was the second one when they were in church.
Motorcycle through the church, right?
Yeah, that was the second one.
Okay, that one was pretty good.
Yeah, that one was good. That was, Mike Epps was in that.
Yeah.
As a comic relief. I really liked the first one. The second one I liked too. And then the third...
That's when it starts...
And then, that was Extinction, and that was when they were kind of like in the desert with the Allie Lauder and all. And then Afterlife, I believe, was the one with Wentworth Miller.
Yeah.
And that was...
Yeah, that one was a premiere.
And then Retribution, I've seen it. I honestly... don't remember too much about it. I know I've seen it.
Likewise. I saw it on Stars, I think, and then I think
I got it off Netflix or something, and I watched it, and I was just kind of like, didn't really pay attention to it because it sucked.
Yeah.
But
what do you think? What do you think of the trailer that was released for? Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I think it looks better. Like, I think it looks better than what we've seen.
It looks better than the last two.
Yeah, it looks like they got a bigger budget for the last movie.
Yeah.
And they were like, "This is it."
Yeah.
You said Mike Epps was in the second one for the comic relief. Do you need a comic relief in a movie like that?
No, but I think they want it.
They wanted to bring in someone else. Like my mind, it's kind of like an action horror.
Yeah.
There should be no comedy in that.
No.
I think if the first one's as grounded as you can make a zombie outbreak movie, then you need to continue that franchise and don't. What's the cliche? You don't fix what's not broken, right?
Yeah. And Mike Epps wasn't bad in it.
No, but he's no Uncle Buck. So that's. I don't think that he should have been. There should be no comedy in that's like putting Louis Guzman in Friday the 13th.
I want Louis Guzman and everything.
Well, because you're a big Code Black fan. Is this Mila Jovovich's best role
by far
as Alice?
Because if someone goes over like Mila Jovovich, she played Lilu in.
That's my best role for her.
Oh, because
the costume.
Her outfit.
The costume was best.
And then Resident Evil, and then what else? She did. Three Musketeers.
She did Whiteout.
No, that was Kate Beckinsale.
She did another movie where they were in Alaska, right? Where she was like, I can't remember the name. Where she was like a psychologist.
I don't know. But she did Ultraviolet.
Yeah.
Which kind of
That's
was...
not what I'm thinking about, though.
I know, but I think Whiteout is definitely Kate
Yeah.
Beckinsale.
No, look at that. Look how we come back. We connect everything. In the intro, I'll talk about the movie that I'm actually speaking of. Because it was like a horror kind of like thriller. Psychological
the one about
thriller.
the aliens.
Yeah. What was that called?
I forget.
Okay.
I didn't see it.
It was about like it would come over the radio. I think
Yeah.
it took place in Alaska.
Yeah.
Like her husband was dead. There was a plane.
And
There was a lot of snow.
She did another movie with Steve Zahn. It was kind of like a thriller.
Oh, The Perfect Getaway.
Yeah.
That was a great movie. That had Channing Tatum in it, right?
Yeah.
And Timothy Olyphant was in it. Mm-hmm. That was actually a good movie.
It wasn't bad.
There was somebody else was. I think that's in the MCU was in it. I can't remember. I like that movie. People are probably like, "Fuck this guy." He doesn't like Avatar, but he likes The Perfect Getaway. I hate Avatar. I think her best role for me is Lilu. That was great. That's a great movie.
But you hate Bruce Willis.
I don't hate Bruce Willis. I'm not a big fan. Like, I don't like Die Hard. I think I was too young to really.
And I was like, yeah.
I don't think I was. I think I was too young to kind of fully experience Die Hard.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like Cop Out. The reason why I don't think I'm a fan of Bruce Willis is because he's taking, and this is no...
He's doing Death Wish.
He's doing Death Wish. And that's not a... Listen, he's taking over Charles Bronson. That's awesome. It took over 20 years for them to finally remake that. So, they feel that Bruce Willis is perfect for it. That's fine. And he's a New Jersey guy. He's a South Jersey guy. I'm fine with that. He's from a half hour away from here. Salem County. That's fine with it. I just don't think I've seen him in enough that I like. I wasn't a big fan of Armageddon. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it all goes back to Cop Out for me. And that's unfair, but I can't say I hate him as a person. Like, he's not Nicolas Cage. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's made better movies than Nicolas Cage. But I think I like The Fifth Element. Gary Oldman's hair is awesome in it. Yeah. Chris Tucker's hair is awesome in it. It's got great hair in the movie. Fifth Element might be my favorite Bruce Willis movie. And it's made my sci-fi top fives. Yeah. Just think about that for a second. Fifth Element is amazing.
It's good.
I hope they don't ever remake it.
I don't know.
It would be like, I don't even know, like Kevin James, Michael B. Jordan. I'm picking people I know you don't like. Is Alice... Now we think Alice, we think Selena, Lara Croft. Is she one of the most badass women characters in film?
I think so.
Yeah. She's doing like hurricanranas on fucking zombies. And like driving motorcycles through churches.
One of the best parts in the first one is when she kicks...
When she's naked in the test tube?
No,
that's also a good part.
No, that's a great part. I'm talking about action and badass. Okay. Is when those zombie Doberman pictures come after, and she like jumps off the wall and kicks the dog right in the face. Mm-hmm. I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, you know what? She kind of raised the bar for women to do action movies, in my opinion, because like she wasn't somebody who was like, "Oh, I only want to do rom-coms." Like, could you imagine Meg Ryan doing a fucking action scene where like Glenn Close? No, you can't see that. But then like, I might be getting my dates wrong, but like, you have Resident Evil, and then you have like movies like The Fast and the Furious, where Michelle Rodriguez isn't the Jordana Brewster role. Yeah. She's a badass. And then you have Domino, and you have Underworld and shit like that. Like she kind of like brought the bar in the early 2000s for women to be badass. And I think Resident Evil came out in 2001, right? 2002. Tomb Raider came out in probably around 2001, around that area. So between, and I don't want to give her credit for it, but Angelina Jolie and Mila Jovovich to kind of raise the bar. It's pretty cool. Bonus question. Do you think this is a successful video game franchise? He's got like 17 fucking movies.
I mean, money-wise, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Critic-wise, no.
No.
But a lot of... I mean, for a studio to make... Was it 1, 2,
I think there's 6
3, 4, 5? Yeah, this will be the 6th one.
Yeah. To make 6 movies.
It's got to be over $1 billion.
I don't know, man. Those last 3 might have grossed maybe $5 million together. We'll have to do the math,
Yeah.
but it's better than the Tomb Raider movie. They didn't really do that again, right?
Yeah.
It's better than Prince of Persia.
Oh, yeah.
They really need to do that.
Was horrible.
What are some other video game movies that came out and failed? Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Thank God they didn't make a
Silent Hill got 2.
Silent Hill. I like Silent Hill a lot. I really wish they would do it again. It was better than Street Fighter. It was better than the Mortal Kombat movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, it kind of...
It's probably the most successful.
Until Assassin's Creed comes out.
I hope that's...
But if you think about it, it kind of paved the way for Assassin's Creed to be made and Warcraft to be made, and hopefully a God of War movie to be made. So you have these... And video game movies, for the most part, were kind of like, one and done, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And there are more video games that could get movies, but Resident Evil kind of raised the bar and said, hey, we've made 6 movies based off a video game. And people still want to see it. That's why we made 6 movies. What has been the scariest or even the best character from the Resident Evil franchise? What do you like?
Nemesis.
Nemesis?
Dude, he... And that second one. That's why I kind of like when Mike Epps is kind of bunkered down with those people in a shopping center or whatever. And he comes out and this guy, huge character in like a leather jacket or coat with that fucking gun.
Yeah. Nemesis was badass.
Dude, he was my favorite. He's my favorite character.
Yeah.
Because he might not have been the scariest.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine, you're bunkered down.
I shit my pants.
And you see that fucking person come.
Dude, I shit my pants.
And Mike Epps was the only one that lived.
Yeah.
The best part with Mike Epps is when they said something. He goes, I'm strapped. And he pulls out these gold-plated...
Like pimp guns.
Yeah. But Nemesis by far.
Yeah. It's hard to top Nemesis for best character. So I'm not going to. I'm agreeing with you that Nemesis is the best character.
Scariest, no.
Scariest, the dogs are pretty fucking scary. But the lickers are also really, really creepy.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking more of the game because they would come out of nowhere. Same thing with the movie. Like you see them crawling on top of the church, and then they're in the train station.
In the first one, the licker in it. That
Yeah.
was...
Did his tongue get caught in the door? The car,
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. First of all, having a character called the Licker is awesome. We need a superhero called the Licker, just running around licking people. So I'm gonna go with Nemesis and then the Licker and the dogs. Are they zombies?
Yeah.
So, I guess bonus question again: which zombies would you be more afraid of? Resident Evil zombies? Walking Dead zombies, or World War Z zombies?
Well, I think maybe Resident Evil because anything can become a zombie.
Yeah, and they can mutate.
Yeah.
So exactly, for me it would be Resident Evil, World War Z because they still had consciousness on their brain where they were able to form fucking mountains so they can pull down helicopters, and then the Walking Dead. I think Walking Dead are just they're the zombies that I would like in the zombie apocalypse because I feel like I can take them out easily.
They're the most well done zombies.
Yeah, but also I think that they're just the most easiest to kill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As opposed to, I don't want zombies running after me.
Yeah.
I don't want zombie dogs.
No.
I don't want fucking zombie birds. Oh my god. Oh. I'm hyperventilating. Afraid of birds. So, how would you handle the outbreak if you lived in Raccoon City?
See, that's tough because it's not like The Walking Dead where it's kind of free range.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can go here, go there. You're quarantined in the city.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's nowhere to fucking hide in there.
And you think cities, you think overpopulation.
Yeah.
So there's, you might be the only survivor.
You know what I mean? In The Walking Dead, you can you're in Georgia, you're in Tennessee, you're in, you can roam.
Yeah, you're working your way up the East Coast.
Yeah. But then in Raccoon City, like, you try to get to the border and they fucking shoot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're quarantined. You can't leave.
Yeah.
Where are you fucking hiding? You're not.
So, would you bring the fight to them, or wait for them to bring the fight to you, as far as the zombies?
Okay, wait.
So you would just bunker down in your house?
Yeah, you have to.
Okay.
Because where are you hiding?
It's true. I mean, I also don't want to be a sitting duck.
No, but like, there's, like you said, overpopulation in a city. Like, could you imagine being bunkered down in Philly?
No. Oh, God. I don't want to go to Philly in general. Other than sports games. I feel like it's too much. Yeah, I hear you.
But again, like, think of that. Like, say you're in Center City.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you hiding?
Nowhere.
Where are you hiding?
Or even if you're in the subway.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
Where? Nowhere.
I feel like what I would do is if, let's say for the sake of the argument, I don't have an apartment, I have a house, right? I feel like I would rig the front door. So I would stay upstairs, personally. I would stay upstairs, and then I would rig the front door and the back door so I know if someone came in, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe have like an axe swing down if someone comes in, right? But I would also have escape routes in every single room. Like whether it's sheets and a rope that I can just climb down, or if I'm lucky enough to have enough time, like make a bridge to the neighbor's house, like or put a ladder from my house to their house. Who knows? But just have an escape route for each of us. Or I would just hide in the attic and pretend that I'm dead. Nobody goes in the attic. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to go up there because it's the most unknown area. Because if you walk through a door, you open the door, boom, you might get shot, right? But you at least know that there might be something under. You can look under the door and you can see someone's foot. You pull down an attic door, you don't know what the fuck's falling on you. You could have a liquor fall on you. You could have a boiling acid fall on you. So you don't know what's going to fall on you. So I think I would fortify my house. I wouldn't bring the fight to them. Because then, you run at risk of getting caught up in a horde. There might be rovers, there might be rangers, other people that are trying to loot people's houses that aren't as good. There might be Negan's group out there. You know what I mean? Or you got to deal with the National Guard and the Raccoon City police that are going to shoot you down. You know what I mean? And the Umbrella Corporation. You got to worry about them too. So that's how I would handle it. We talked about Kate Beckinsale and introducing her into the MCU and the DCU. What about Mila? Can you see her in anything?
I like see her villain, Madam Hydra.
Okay, nice. I didn't think you were going to go with that.
Something different.
Yeah.
You know what? I like to see her a villain.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to think, and I think she'd be good.
Yeah. Could you see her as it's weird that I picked the same DC or MCU character for both persons. Medusa. She got red hair.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I'm going off of is that she has red hair. But I could see her doing that. The problem with both of them is that they're getting older.
Yeah.
So I think they would be background characters.
Yeah.
Or love interests, kind of like
That's why I think Madam Hydra would work.
Yeah. But what movie would you put her in with Madam Hydra? Would you bring Red Skull back?
Oh, I want Red Skull.
Well, Red Skull's not dead.
Yeah. And
Hugo Weaving's kind of on the fence with everything, like, I'm going to come back, or I'm not going to come back. I don't want to do the prosthetics, but I like the money, blah, blah, blah. So could you see, and I talked to you about this theory a little bit off air, Thanos resurrecting these villains, right? He brings Red Skull back, and that's where you introduce Madam Hydra. That'd be pretty cool. Or if they do a new Captain America movie where Bucky or Sam are the Captain Americas, that's your Madam Hydra. I like her as a villain, not an MCU. I'd like to see her as Viper. That'd be pretty cool. But also, I'd like to see her as Poison Ivy in the.
She's just a little older.
But think about it, and I hear where you're coming from. The Ben Affleck movie is called The Batman, right?
Yeah.
It's an older Batman. If he's come across with these villains that are older, Jared Leto's in his 40s.
You don't look it,
but think about that. He's in his 40s, right? Ben Affleck is in his 40s. Might be 50. I don't know.
He's in, I think, mid to late.
Okay, so it's an older Batman story.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Gordon is already going to be much older with J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
You can introduce older villains. So that's where you have Kate Beckinsale as Catwoman, and you have Mila Jovovich as Poison Ivy. Kind of fits the, you don't want to see this old man Batman fighting young Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
And Mila Jovovich and Kate Beckinsale are kind of hot enough to be in those roles.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to kind of like with Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy. She wasn't a spring chicken.
No.
Well, she was kind of older. So that's my whole logic behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Not, because, like, I can't see her being, like, if Zac Efron were Batman, like, I couldn't see Mila Jovovich as Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be kind of corny. I think, like, Rose Leslie would be Poison Ivy. Another redhead. Or Emma Watson. Oh, my God, Emma Watson in a Poison Ivy suit? Whew, sign me up. I asked you the question about it in Underworld. How would you end Resident Evil?
I mean, I think that just because it says final chapter doesn't mean it's not.
I hope it is.
I hope so too. I don't see this making ridiculously amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? I mean, it could sit there and make all this money and be like, you know what? It's not done.
You gonna see it in theaters?
Probably not.
I'm probably gonna see it.
I mean, it depends.
Guess I'm going alone.
Thanks,
I mean, Chuck. I go see Jupiter Ascending with you, and you won't go see Resident Evil Final Chapter with me?
I will probably go, but it's kind of like if the times line up, you know what I mean? If it's like I'm busy, because if it doesn't do well, it's not going to last.
I hear you.
But they have to.
Do they kill Alice, or do they finally kill the blonde guy with the glasses, whose name is kind of skipping me?
Yeah.
Do they finally kill him? The leader of the Umbrella Corporation? This asshole has survived 6 movies.
He's still in this one?
I'm pretty sure he is. Do they kill Alice? Or does she get the fuck out of Raccoon City and find...
she gotta get the fuck out.
Or find Safe Haven?
It's been 15 years.
Right?
Almost.
She's been stuck in Raccoon City my entire 20s. You know what I mean?
More than that.
Yeah,
half your life.
She's been stuck in Raccoon City since I was a freshman in high school. 2001.
You came out 2002.
All right, 2002. So I was just leaving my freshman year in high school. So, Jesus, that's a long time. I think in order for this to be the final chapter, the blonde douchebag dies. Alice gets helicoptered out, and she starts somewhere else. But I can also see it. She gets somewhere else, and there's more zombies. And then it's like, oh, final chapter 2. It's kind of like that Last Exorcism movie where they made a sequel. It's called The Last Exorcism. You don't make a sequel. Jesus. How long do you think it will take if this is the last chapter? Right? This is the final chapter of Resident Evil. How long do you think it's going to take for them to reboot it?
Movie form, 5 years.
5 years? I think so too. Like, who would be the next Alice?
I could see, but she won't because she's taking Tomb Raider. Is that
Alicia Vikander?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. What about Yvonne Strahovski? I know that's your girl.
She's getting older.
What about Alexandria Daddario?
Your role for everything.
What about Emma Watson?
I was just about to say that.
That would be cool. You don't really see her in that.
No.
Nah. Alicia Vikander would be pretty good. What if Tomb Raider doesn't make it?
Hey, give her a shot.
Yeah, why not? Or Felicity Jones could do it. You know what I mean? She was supposed to be Black Cat.
Yeah.
That didn't pan out. Now she's Jaren Erso in Rogue One. So, who knows? I hope they don't reboot it. I think this should be it.
I agree. I just think it's going to.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, because Hollywood doesn't... They're not creative enough to make anything anymore. Anything new. What's the newest movie that's coming out? Max Steel?
Which got a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, but it's also, like, on IMDb, it's a 7.1. Yeah. The Accountant is a 7.3. So, I don't think Max Steel is going to do well at all.
No.
I think that's going to be worse than Monster Trucks. But you don't have original content anymore, so they're going to. I think they're going to reboot it too. They're going to make another video game, and they're going to pick it up where they left off. So there's a rumor that after the final chapter, Resident Evil is going to become a TV series. Do you think it has a chance to make it on a TV series?
I don't think so. I think if they did it, it would be, it would have to be a darker version and kind of, it would have to be on a paid service.
Yep, I agree.
Or not even paid, like maybe FX. Because FX you can go, I mean, for American Horror Story.
And the Strain.
Yeah, you can go pretty fucking violent with
Yeah.
that shit.
I mean, they're just embalming people.
That was gross.
That's super gross.
I watched it and I was
so
like,
gross.
oh! But,
it's so gross.
But, and then, like, if it would be hard, like, to see Sci-Fi doing it.
I feel like that's where it's going to go.
But if they try to make it mainstream, the network I can see and it wouldn't last would be NBC.
Oh my god, no. Ugh. I don't want to watch anything on NBC ever again because of Constantine.
I mean, NBC, like, there's stuff. I like Grimm. I like Grimm.
Yeah.
That's the ending.
Superstore's on NBC, and that was good. And then this movie that I said, or the show that I said was going to be terrible, and I didn't think it was going to make like more than 3 episodes. This Is Us. I watched 10 minutes of it, dude. It's not what I thought it was.
And you cried.
I didn't cry. No. I'm a man. I only cry when Dobby and Artex dies. Let's get that serious. But I watched it, and it's completely different than what I thought it was. So I think it's pretty good show. I'm not going to binge it. It's not going to be a Luke Cage binge for me. I see Sci-Fi getting it. If not Sci-Fi, maybe Fox, because Fox is trying to go in that horror genre way, where they did Wayward Pines and Sleepy Hollow, and now The Exorcist, which is not bad. I talked about it last week. It's pretty good. It's only got 8 episodes so far. I don't know how I feel about it going any further, but there's only 8 confirmed episodes. So that might not be good. But I think it should be like on a Showtime or Cinemax or FX. It needs to be darker because you can't run around a zombie outbreak and can't say shit. You know what I mean? On network television,
you're not gonna go. Darn it!
Oh, dang it! Look at those zombies eating Rick or eating Alice. Dang it! Like that.
Darn!
Like, could you imagine Resident Evil on the Hallmark Channel?
Be like, sugar molasses.
Right. Well, he bit my pumpkin. Like, I don't think it's gonna.
I'd be like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, it needs to be on Showtime
because it's more real. Because again, if a zombie comes after you, you're not gonna go.
Oh man! Oh hot man!
Oh my Lanta!
Yeah,
you know
oh my
I mean?
Lanta!
No, you're gonna go. Holy shit! Let me get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely a pay channel. I could see it on Netflix.
Yeah.
Where you have a better chance of people binging. I feel like a Resident Evil show should be binged. You know what I mean? That's personally what I think. Although, if they're going to make a new zombie show, I would love to see a Marvel zombie show. That would be fucking epic.
Would never happen, but
it would be so good, dude. So good. And that's do crossover. I don't give a shit. Resident Evil, Marvel zombies.
Hey, Marvy.
I don't know. I think that's the best part.
All right, Chuck, let's plug ourselves. We are on Twitter at ActiveGeek_. We're on Instagram at TheActiveGeek. We're on Facebook under Active Geek, SoundCloud, and iTunes under the Active Geek Podcast. We're also on Spreaker under Geek Culture Cast Network. So make sure you like and follow us on all of our social medias. And keep subscribing to our podcast, Legends of the Panel podcast, Warp My TARDIS podcast, and the Microburst podcast. All can be found on the Geek Culture Cast Network on Spreaker.com. All right, guys. Take care. See ya.